Real ones with me, I know we gon' beat the odds. Yup. Counterfeit, guess it from the thought of it. People fake, think they need to start a kid. Tryna be real, this right here to start a kid.
Huge thank you to today's sponsor, Giant Snacks. Giants is a small family-owned business that specializes in premium flavor and giant snack sizes.
From sunflower seeds and pistachios, pumpkin seeds and cashews, Giants has all the great snacks you need.
Don't forget some of the great flavors that they offer, from dill pickle to sweet Thai chili.
Or whatever flavor you're craving.
Check out the newest flavor that just arrived in stores.
Big Easy cashews and Big Easy sunflower seeds.
Available now online or in a store near you. Huge thank you to Giant Snacks for sponsoring this podcast.
Now let's get back to the podcast.
Man, I miss Logan behind the camera. Where's he at? Ready?
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Beyond the Spotlight podcast, hosted by myself. My name is Jack.
And I'm Aiden.
And today, we're joined by Abby. Huge thank you to Giant Snacks for being an amazing sponsor once again. We're actually at their plant right now here in Wahpeton. So you'll see a little bit of a different backdrop. These aren't the same seeds you see in every other episode. These are actually their seeds and cashews. But yeah, thank you. Thank you, Giants. Abby, I have an intro for you. Today, we're thrilled to welcome Abby Duchscherer to the Beyond the Spotlight podcast. A multi-sport star, Abby was named North Dakota's Gatorade Basketball Player of the Year the year before taking her talents to Alabama softball, where she's now ranked at number 5 at first base by Softball America. We look forward to hearing your story today. Welcome to the podcast, Abby.
Hey.
Welcome to the show. So for people who might not know you, outside of what I just said, do you want to give like a quick elevator pitch on like who you are, where you're from, and maybe some sports that you've done?
Okay, yeah. My name's Abby Duchscherer. I'm from Kindred, North Dakota. I play basketball, volleyball. I did track my senior year. But yeah, softball is mainly what I'm known for. And I originally lived in Washington State for about like 5-6 years, and then we moved back to North Dakota. And yeah, I've been here from 4th grade till now.
Perfect.
So you grew up in Washington a little bit?
Yeah, so, okay, technically, originally, I am from North Dakota, but we moved when I was really young, and then I grew up playing sports in Washington State. So that's how I kind of started to get into sports, because it was a very dry area we lived in. We were on the eastern side of the mountains, so, like, Seattle's really, like, rainy, wet, but we lived in the tri-state area, so sports were year-round, and so that's how I got into softball.
So what was growing up in Kindred like for you? Or when did you move back to North Dakota, I should say, first?
So I moved back to North Dakota in 4th grade.
4th grade.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was the second semester, so technically January. And yeah, it was weird having a small class. I graduated with 49 kids, I want to say.
Yep.
So that was very weird for me. Versus Washington, I think we had like over 100 to 200 kids in my class.
Wow.
So a very small atmosphere, but I love it. The community is great. The support's always been great. I love the one-on-one with teachers. You know everyone by name, whether it's like K through 12, like you just know everyone. So kind of a cool thing to have.
So right in the beginning, did you play both sports, both basketball and softball?
Yeah. So this is kind of funny. My whole career, I've always like copied what my brother did. So when we lived in Washington, I even played tackle football, which a lot of people don't know. But like whatever he did, I just wanted to copy him and do him. So I kind of give him all the credit for going into sports, because I just wanted to like follow my big brother and do what he did. So yeah, I literally played tackle football. I loved it. I was a running back.
Wow.
I would give kudos to myself. I think I tore it up a little bit. So
That's awesome.
I also played hockey. So I got that from him. I played hockey for like 2 to 3 years, and then
when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that's how I got into softball, because when he transitioned to like baseball, I was like, okay, I want to do that. So I obviously couldn't play baseball, and then I got into softball.
Were your parents big athletes as well, or just kind of from your brother?
So they were. My mom and dad are VCSU like alumni.
Dang.
My mom grew up in Richland, and she went to VCSU for basketball, and then my dad went to VCSU for football, and then that's kind of how they met too.
Growing up, who was a big mentor for you? Was it one of your parents, or was it your brother, like you mentioned earlier?
So Sis Bates was my mentor. She played at Washington. So when I said about living in Washington, she played for the Washington Huskies. She was their shortstop, middle infield. And now she plays pro softball, which is kind of a full circle moment, because I just worked at camp with her and Montana Fouts, like previous teammates. And it's just so weird to like have a mentor. Like you like look up to her, you want to be like her, and then you like start working with her because you get to be like that
That's
same
awesome.
age.
Yeah.
So yeah, she is just a phenomenal person, super nice, like everything you want, morals wise, like she has it. And yeah, her game, her style, her craft is one of a kind. So I just looked up to her a lot. So then when I got to North Dakota, that like I originally played middle infield, all travel ball. So that's why I kind of like wanted to like be like her. So the full circle moment happened like a month ago. So I grew up looking up to her when I lived in Washington. So like take me back 10 years ago. And then I am at college now playing, and then her and Montana are on the same pro team. And Montana Fouts, if you don't know, she is like a 4-time All-American pitcher.
Gotcha.
Plays for Team USA. She is an absolute stud. So yeah, they got together to work a camp, and I worked with them, and I got to meet her, which was kind of cool. So
you missed it. I shouted out Giants. So you mentioned pro softball. Is there like a MLB for softball, basically?
Technically, yes.
Okay.
Is it as big? No, but it's growing. Softball in general, like in the world, is growing like at a fast rate. I remember not even last June. This summer, I think the World Series like of softball got more views than the men's. Like whatever
World Series
in Omaha. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Couldn't get the words out, but it's growing so fast. So that's why it's been kind of cool for me to have my platform too, because I'm doing a lot of camps now in North Dakota. Also trying to like give the knowledge and feedback to like these younger girls, because we're kind of in a cold state to where like no one really wants to do outside sports, which sounds so weird. But there was like softball teams in Class B. I guess it is a 3-class system now, but when I was in school, literally 3 years ago, there was like a few schools in Class B who didn't even have softball yet, and that just blew my mind. So just trying to give back to North Dakota with all the knowledge. I've been like really grateful and all the experience I have this winter and over Thanksgiving. I've been doing that. So cool experience.
So in the beginning of the podcast, we mentioned that you were a basketball star. Mm-hmm. Do you want to touch on that? Like basketball, your career?
Yeah. So I started varsity in 7th grade. There's a big push for that. A lot of people did not want that to happen, which I mean, rightfully so. Like when you think about I feel like a older classman mentality, or like a little 7th grader coming in. Like I don't want her to be on the team. Like she can't play with me. Like
hold on, you said you started even? You did?
I was 6th man off the bench. I should have said like playing varsity in 7th grade. I should have reworded that better. But yeah, I started playing varsity basketball in 7th grade in Kindred, and I was 6th man off the bench. I was kind of a little spark plug, and at that age, your body never hurts. So I was like on the go. I was like running, and it was a great seniors, great people. So I'm very grateful for the time that I had with them, because they like built me into like the person and leader I needed to like shape into, even though like 7th grade is such a young age. But within recruitment too, like I don't know if you guys know this, but like my first call with a college coach was like 12 years old.
Really?
Which is so crazy, but this is before they changed the rules. So I had my first phone call, I believe, with Patrick Murphy, my head coach, when I was 12.
Your current head coach?
Yes.
So his recruiting really worked.
How did he find you? How do you find a 12-year-old?
That's crazy. Yeah.
So he came and watched me in Peoria, Illinois, I believe, for the first time. But I played travel softball out of South Dakota, and we were the South Dakota Renegades, and we would go to Colorado, California, Tennessee,
you travel
Florida.
like that as a 12-year-old?
Yes.
Wow.
Like that's how deep like the competitiveness is, and like if you want the exposure to play college softball, like you have to take that route. And granted, is that everyone's route? No. Like there's people who can go JUCO and then like to college, but a good majority of us who do end up going to play college softball, it's because you did like IDT in Boulder and you went to PGF in California. Like those are like the big name showcases. So I was doing that like since 12 years old, and give a shout out to my mom, because she would drive me everywhere and she would fly and just to help me pursue my dream at a very young age. So that's why it was kind of hard to get into basketball, because each summer, like as soon as April hit, like that's when softball would take off all the way till like September, October.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a crazy, crazy time. And I wanted to do basketball too, but my coach was very like adamant of like softball. Like he's like, you have your school season, but he's like, I can't afford to not have you play without us or play with us. So yeah, I was doing that, and she would drive me 3 hours for practice. Like practice in the summer started from 8, and defense would go from 8 to 12. And then you'd get a 30-minute lunch break. From 12:30 to 3, it was offense. And then from 3 to 4, the pitchers pitched. So that was like an average day
crazy.
as a youngin'. But yeah, I got to play AAU basketball during COVID in 2020. So I did one season of EYBL, which was a really cool experience with North Tartan in the cities. So we traveled a little bit to like Wisconsin. We were supposed to go to like Oregon and like California, but due to COVID, like the no traveling and all that. So we stayed pretty local within Minnesota, like I said. So it was a cool experience. And if I would have had another season of it, I think I probably would have went for basketball. But it kind of timed up really weird because, so when I talked about the recruiting process, I'm going to dive a little bit into this.
Go ahead.
So like I said, my first phone call was when I was 12, and I was emailing, texting coaches like UCLA and Washington. Like I said, those are like some dream schools. And I had like a top 10 list of where I wanted to go. And when I was in 8th grade, I want to say, is when they changed the rule to where you can't talk to any college coaches because there was girls committing at 12 years old to colleges. And it's like, how does a 12-year-old really want to know where she wants to go? And I think the girl who kind of like changed it when she committed to Florida Gators. And that's when everyone's like, okay, like 12-year-olds is way too young. So they changed the rule to September 1st of your junior year. So I would still text coaches, email coaches, but they couldn't respond. So it's kind of like a guessing game of like, if they're getting it, are they not getting it? So my September 1st came, and that night, like at 11:59, I get a phone call at 12 a.m. as soon as September 1st hit from Patrick Murphy.
That's crazy.
And it's kind of a funny story because I had my retainers in. Like, I wake up like half groggy. I'm like, hello? And he's like, happy September 1st. When you wake up, like, give me a call and we can talk about this. Like, so excited. Let's get you like on the Roll Tide train. And I was like, yes, sir. Good night. And just put the phone back down. So it was just crazy waking up to that and having like your phone blowing up with like different colleges. Definitely a fulfilling like feeling, I guess, to see like your hard work and just like the sacrifice, like I said, like all the traveling and just all the unknowns happen. So
you knew at such a young age that you could play after high school. You knew that and that's kind of what you wanted to do.
Softball too. It was always softball.
Yeah, it was always softball just because like I'm not gonna say grueling, but like those long summer hours and like playing 7 games like in one day, like on championship Sunday, like it got to be a lot. But I put so much like time and effort into it.
Yeah.
When you're practicing like at that age from literally 8 a.m. to 3 every day, like that's like a lot of time and dedication. So like I feel like that's why my heart was always in softball. Yeah. But when I played high school basketball and I achieved like over my like 2,000 career points, 1,000 rebounds, like Miss Basketball, like I don't even remember. It was just more so like the fact that I loved the competitiveness of basketball. Like you can be so good at like defense, shooting, passing. Like there's so many things in basketball you can be like so good at. But softball, I think why I love the challenge of it is really you have to be good at hitting. And that's it. Yeah. Like that's what gets you into a lineup is if you can hit the ball. Right. Which is sometimes good, sometimes bad because like you don't know what they're going to pitch and you have less than 1 second to like have your brain trigger like, do I want to swing at this pitch? Do I take it for a ball? Like it's a very hard sport. So I think that's why I draw so much like more near it versus basketball. But I still love basketball. It was honestly kind of a hard choice when you talk to basketball and softball at the same time for recruitment process because you definitely want to see what each school offers and what's going to suit you best. But ultimately, at the end of the day, like I wanted a family atmosphere. I wanted coaches who cared for me, loved for me, teammates who also feel the same way. So Alabama is by far the best suit for that.
Do you think that you have more natural talent as a softball player or a basketball player?
I think basketball, truly, because I never knew I was going to grow up and be 6'1". Yeah. Like I was definitely always middle height, average. And then when I got to like 8th grade, my height just shot up to like 5'9", and then the next year, like 5'10". So
when did you stop growing? If you don't mind me asking.
I honestly,
I don't know if that's a weird question.
Think the last time I went to my doctor's appointment, they're like, you still might have like another inch. And I was like,
dang,
no way.
That's crazy.
So, what does that do for softball? Is that beneficial or?
It's beneficial as in like first base.
Right.
I play first. And so the length to grab other bad throws or at third, I feel like any foul balls or like balls to the left side, I can move really well. And I have like the levers to grab, like snag stuff. And then hitting wise too, like I can cover so much of like the plate. So the really only thing that about being tall that is kind of a downfall, is like low pitches. If I don't use my legs, I'm cooked.
Okay, let's go back to high school basketball. You guys had a state championship, right?
We had 3.
While you were there? Dang.
My
Sophomore, junior, senior? Or?
7th grade, freshman, senior.
Wow.
And it was kind of cool because my 7th grade year, we went undefeated and we're state champs. And then my senior year, undefeated state champs.
Dang.
So
that's crazy. You don't hear that very often or hardly ever.
no.
And then when on those other years that you guys didn't win, were you guys
Still like almost
there?
no losses.
So we went to state. So we won state 7th grade. My 8th grade year, we went to state in Minot, but we didn't win. I think we lost like first round or something. Freshman year, went back to state, won it. Junior year, we did not go to state. So that was my sophomore year. I skipped over sophomore year. Sophomore year, we didn't go to state. We lost in the regional championship. I honestly don't remember. This shows like how serious sports is in high school. It's not like in the moment it feels so serious, but sophomore year lost in regional championship, and then my junior year we lost in the regional championship, which I think at the time I was like, so sad, so crushed. But no, senior year, that's kind of like when you talk about like God's plan and like having things work out. I think winning my 7th grade year undefeated, then like senior year undefeated, it was definitely like a good rewarding feeling. So how that all played out, I was super thankful because my best friend, she plays basketball at MSUM and she's like 6'2". So we also had height, and you don't see a lot of girls in Class B basketball have height. So it was like me and her being like 6 foot plus, that helped so much. And then we had some good guards too. So we had a lot of athletes within my school. So with it being a small school, it worked out for
Which
my
is
class.
crazy. Like the boys too, like were crazy good.
My class was a different breed because our boys too, like they had over a 6 foot lineup, I know, and they were just
that's wild.
That is
so
crazy.
bouncy. They had like a dunk highlight. I remember in high school, someone would create like a YouTube like dunk highlight for the boys, and they would play it before the games, and it was so cheesy, but like it was low key fi. So I was like,
Yeah. What about that area? Like, why? Is it Fargo kids that are just really good that are like, okay, Kindred has great athletics, I want to go there? Or is it literally just like Kindred is, for some reason, the coaches or whatever it is, you guys are just good at sports? You know what I mean by that?
I know what you mean because
my school has the same size, and we suck at almost every sport. So I'm just curious about how the heck Kindred is so good at almost every sport.
I just truly feel like it's the luck of the draw. I mean, definitely we've had a few kids from Fargo come transfer into Kindred, but when I got there in 4th grade, it was like basically the same crew, with maybe the exception of like 2 to 4 kids added on to it. So it's truly just, I think, the luck and like the generation turnover, because I look at high school basketball now and I don't think it's like the same competitiveness or level it was when I played, or even when my brother played. My brother's 24 now, and so when he was in high school, like even the competition then, there was some like just really good athletes. So I don't know if it's just like a generational thing or what, but Kindred, it has to be the coaches too, I think, a little bit that play a part in it, because for my head coach, getting us there almost like every year,
It's
like
crazy.
that takes a lot.
Yeah,
But-
how was your coaching staff within the basketball team?
Awesome. So we had an all-female staff my 8th grade basically through my 11th grade. Oh my gosh. 8th grade through my junior year. But I had Perry Piotz. He was my first coach for varsity my 7th grade year, which he is honestly still a good like mentor, head coach, person I talk to a lot. He's great, full of advice. And he came back my senior year to help us get another win. So, and he did that. He provides a lot of knowledge. So super great guy. Shout out to him.
What are like some moments in that varsity time that like kind of stuck out to you? Did you have any? Obviously hitting 2,000 points was insane. Do you have any records there?
I mean, surely I don't think anyone's surpassed 2,000 points. I think I almost ended with 3,000 points. But this too kind of sounds like not bad, but we didn't have that 3-class system yet. So I think I only played like 11 to 15 minutes, like for the good majority of the season, because we're beating teams by like 20, 30 points. So it's like, I'm not even playing the 3rd or 4th quarter. But, I'm very happy and like, content with what I finished with, but like you never know. I was never
yeah.
the person who got to stay in like the whole 4 quarters. Like you got to play your first 2 and that was done. But I had a
that
blast
is crazy.
though. I had a blast outside of that.
I never looked at it. Sorry, go ahead.
No,
I cut you off.
you're good. I was just saying like then it was like fun to just cheer on like the younger girls
Yeah.
who got to go in and they got to learn. But I think there was only like one game we ever had to go back in. We're like you're
Sure.
sitting on the bench and you're kind of just like goofing off, and then all of a sudden like our head coach is yelling at us, "Get back on the game!" And you're like, you got to tighten up a little bit. But yeah.
At the school, were you kind of known to just kind of being like the basketball stud? Like, did your teachers know? The people around you would come up to you and be like, "Hey, nice basketball game." Is that kind of how it went?
Yeah, that's so funny you asked that because like the state of North Dakota knows me for basketball. And when I announced my commitment for softball, everyone was like, "You're joking. Like you're not going to play basketball in North Dakota." Like, so yeah, I would definitely say like in the state of North Dakota, I'm known for basketball, but I have this whole other life in the summertime of softball that people just didn't really know about, which kind of, I'll lead into this one, but I never got to play high school softball once. So like I never got to like get any accolades with like state softball or like Gatorade Player of the Year because I never played one high school game because you can't play travel and high school at the same time. So it's no different than like in basketball. A lot of middle school kids have to like make that choice. Like, do I want to play travel basketball or do I want to do like C squad or
Like AAU basketball, you're saying? Is that the same kind of thing? Okay.
yeah, like do you want to do that or do you want to play high school? Because North Dakota doesn't allow you to play both at the same time. So
That's so weird.
I know.
Why they'd
I
make
know,
that rule,
and I
but-
wish they would take that away because like I never got that high school experience for softball.
Yeah.
And my basketball coach was also the softball coach. So that would have been a cool experience to have. But granted, didn't have it. But our travel ball season started in like March and April. And that's why I could never do it because you're trying to go to like warm places like Florida or Georgia. Like that's where I was traveling to like on school weekends and stuff. So yeah, I never had the opportunity to play high school softball.
Was high school softball as competitive though?
No. And that's why I kind of mentioned this earlier. I would love to bring my knowledge and experience of like competitive softball to North Dakota. Is there anything wrong with North Dakota softball? No. It just has a lot of learning and growing to do yet because you don't have people like me coaching people who've only been in North Dakota, if that makes sense. Like if you're only North Dakota minded, like that's to the extent of like, that's all you know is just North Dakota softball. But there's like just a higher level outside of North Dakota. And so that's why it's okay I didn't get to play North Dakota softball. But granted, I still would have loved to do that and even teach peers and just kind of talk about softball. Like that's what all sports are about, is like feeding your knowledge to other people and learning off each other. So yeah.
It kind of sounds like you like the idea of coaching too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. It's just like I feel just so fortunate and blessed like with what I've got to experience from North Dakota. Like that's why I'm so passionate about like being able to feed back to others and give my experience because I think North Dakota has so much potential to be like that rising sports and teams to watch. Because like when I think about like Alabama basketball, like no one ever knew about them until like 3 years ago, until they started making it to like the Final Four, Sweet 16. Like I think North Dakota, so that's what UND hockey is. It's like when people think of North Dakota, they're like UND hockey because that's so fun to watch and like they're one of the best hockey teams. But like I want like our NDSU softball team to get on the map, and I want like NDSU football. That's a great example. Like everyone knows about them, and then as soon as you kind of like don't start to like win as much, like people kind of like just drop off and forget about you. So I just want more of our softball to be talked about because like we have hockey that's talked about and our football boys talked about, but we never have like our softball girls talked about. So that's why I just want to grow the game so girls can like understand that and know that there's like a huge competitive side to it.
It's hard when these girls like yourself they want to play at the next level and get better, so they go play AAU or whatever it's called for softball. So it's like you guys are going to go play that because it'll make you better. You'll play with better people and play against better players. But like they can't also play softball in North Dakota, it sounds like. So that's just like where it's kind of hard to have better teams when all the girls that want to be their best they can have to go play a different way. So if that makes sense.
No, that's what I'm trying to like also like say it without.
So get rid of that
goodness.
Stupid rule in North Dakota.
Exactly. Exactly.
There's got to be a reason for it, but it doesn't.
A lot of sacrifice. That's what ultimately what my parents and I talked about. Granted, was it at a young age? Yes, but I knew my end goal was to play like a college sport, whether it was basketball or softball, which it was almost basketball. People don't know this fun fact, but due to COVID, it really hurt my class's recruitment because for the softball side, because no softball colleges had money for my class. And it wasn't just like, it didn't matter if you were like the number one person in the class or whoever, no colleges had money because those girls coming back for their COVID year. So people like it like overlapped. And so it was kind of like scary for my class because like a lot of our teammates and I were like, so what are we going to do? Like we put all this time and effort in and no coaches have money. And so that's when I was like, I could just go the basketball route, which I almost did because there's coaches that will put you on timelines. They'll be like, you have like 3 weeks to decide. You have 2 weeks to decide. Like if you want, like our offers on the table, like you have to let us know. So it got hard. The recruitment process is definitely stressful, but like rewarding at the end of it. But yeah, I think NDSU, gosh, I'm trying to think now. NDSU and like I was going to go there for both. That
oh my
people
gosh.
don't know that, but
that would have been
I was going to go there for both. So, but
why didn't you do that?
I'm not kidding you. I was so close to doing it and pulling the trigger. But then I got a phone call September 19th from our head coach, Patrick Murphy. And he's like, one of our players just transferred out. Like we have a scholarship opportunity if you want to take it. And I was like, yes, like,
Sure.
like that's my dream. Like it's my dream school. Like, and I love NDSU and I was passionate about going to play basketball and softball, but ultimately like my end goal was to be in the SEC. And with that opportunity opening up, I was like, yes, like let's do it. So yeah, that happened to me, which is kind of weird, but the COVID kind of hurt things for my recruiting class, which is people don't know.
Sure.
But not for basketball. It's weird. Only softball. Basketball had money, but not softball. So.
You mentioned North Dakota knows you for basketball. So was there a lot of pressure of like students, teachers, coaches saying, you got to play basketball?
Like your friends, did they pressure you into basketball too?
They never pressured me into anything. Like they knew each summer, like what it looked like. Cause oh my gosh, I felt so bad. There's so many times I'd have to tell them like, sorry, I'm not home on the weekend. Like I had to say a lot of no's from my sacrifice. Which it was hard at that age. Cause like you want to be hanging with all your friends and doing the norm, but I obviously couldn't afford to do that. And within basketball though, like when I finally committed for softball, they're like, oh, it's going to be like just more sad not being able to see you play basketball anymore. So it wasn't any like pressure from anyone. It was just like, I'm sad to like not see you do basketball instead because I don't know if they're just like loved watching me play or how my craft was. But yeah, it was more sad that I'm not going to play than
so
mad.
In the beginning when you were 12 and they kind of put that on you, do you think like it was more, I don't know how do you take this, but like their dream to see you play or yours? And then like, you know what I mean by that?
Like college coaches?
Yeah. No, your parents, when they wanted you to play softball and put you through those long hours, was it them kind of wanting you to do it or you wanting to do it?
It was me.
All the way from the beginning?
I'm just a competitive little thing. Like my brother, he probably got so annoyed with me growing up because whatever he tried to do, like I would try to do it better. Like I was just always like mentally like at a like, I'm going to do it better than you. Like I want to strive to be the best, I guess. So I don't know. I've kind of always had that passion in me. And it was never like, oh, like my parents want me to go play this weekend. It was like, no, like I want to go play. I want to go play shortstop. Like I just always had the drive to just be better. So that kind of, pushed me at a young age to be where I'm at now, which I'm very grateful for to have that mindset because there's definitely a lot of kids out there you can see take the lazy route of like having their parents push them and then like they don't reach their full potential. But I've always been the person like I just want to see like if I leave no stone unturned, work hard every day, like where could it take me? So
yeah, and that's like a good thing for life too. Like those people that are for sports, like they get forced in by their parents. You might not see them go as far as people who are going out and getting things done, you know?
Yes.
So.
I feel like you see a lot of athletes get burnout though.
Yeah.
Granted, did I play softball like all summer? Yes. But then I got to transition to volleyball and then basketball. So I never had softball burnout because I was always excited for the next sport. But I see so many young athletes now just like wear themselves down with one sport and one sport only. And they like, I have parents talk to me like, how can I have my girl like enjoy softball more? And I was like, okay, well, what does she do outside for like of softball for fun? And they're like, nothing. Like they're like, all she does is play softball. And I was like, Okay, well, she needs to find like joy outside of her sport, because you can't put like your whole identity and like life into just one sport. Personally, is there anything wrong with just doing one sport? No, but I find so many athletes just having like burnout, because it's like that's a lot to be doing year round all the time, wearing down like the same muscles too. Like that's how you see like a lot of injuries too from just single sport athletes versus like multi-sport athletes.
Huge thank you to today's sponsor, Giant Snacks. Giants is a small family-owned business that specializes in premium flavor and giant snack sizes.
From sunflower seeds and pistachios, pumpkin seeds and cashews, Giants has all the great snacks you need.
Don't forget some of the great flavors that they offer, from dill pickle to sweet Thai chili.
Or whatever flavor you're craving.
Check out the newest flavor that just arrived in stores.
Big Easy cashews and Big Easy sunflower seeds.
Available now online or in a store near you. Huge thank you to Giant Snacks for sponsoring this podcast.
Now let's get back to the podcast. New year, new goals. If one of yours is to get stronger, we've got just the thing for you.
That's right. Meet Alpha Progression, the ultimate app for building muscle and tracking your fitness progress.
Whether you're at a fully stocked gym or just have some equipment at home, Alpha Progression creates a fully custom plan just for you.
It's like having a personal trainer in your pocket.
Go to alphaprogression.com/beyondthespotlight to sign up. And here's the best part. Our listeners get 20% off their first purchase.
Don't wait. Start crushing your New Year's resolutions with Alpha Progression now. Now let's get back to the podcast.
So
how do you feel now that you're only doing softball?
It's definitely a lot, but it's more like a business, I like to tell people, because you have weights at 6 a.m. every day, and then you have like treatment, class, like there's other things that you do outside of softball. And also like I'm on SAC, which is like your student athlete advisory committee. And then we have like weekly meetings. Like there's just so many like things in college that keep you busy that doesn't really make you feel like your whole life's in softball. And then you have Alabama football games on the weekend, or Alabama basketball, and girls and boys. Like we have like just so much going on. So within like the student athlete like community too, you just kind of find joy in other people, like watching your friends succeed in their sport, and then they'll come watch you play. So I don't find like the burnout part bad. I mean, do there get to be long days? Yeah, but it's more like I've been grinding since 5:30 a.m. and I just finally got to bed at like 10:30. I feel like it's more so that than like, oh, I'm tired of my sport.
Sure.
Yeah.
So now let's go head on into Alabama.
Okay.
Unless you have any questions on high school anymore.
How was getting down there for the first time? Did you have any friends that went with you, or were you just all alone and you were, let's make some friends and meet the team? And
yeah, I didn't know anyone on the team. So it was a little scary for me, because I was like not trying to like make where I live like a reason, but I was like, I'm from North Dakota. Like I'm going to be around like all these girls who played on big travel ball programs. Because I played, like I said, out of South Dakota Renegades. And there's other girls playing like big national teams that we would play. And granted, like those would be like the games we'd like lose by like 1 or like 2. And we could like stick with teams, but never like beat them all the time. Would it happen? Yes. That's why we were in like the best tournaments, because we could do that. But you know, I was like just a little timid of like holding my own. So when I went down there, I didn't know anyone, and I got a message, a DM from Montana Fouts. And like I said, she's like a 4-time All-American, an absolute stud, great leader. And she was like, here's my phone number, call me. And I was like in the car, like freaking out. I was like, oh my gosh, like what is she going to ask me? Like, I don't know. Like you kind of like look up to people, like when you like rank classes, you know, like I'm just a little baby freshman coming in, and she's going to be a senior, like a 5th-year senior. So I'm like, oh gosh, like what's she going to say? And she just like, she was so cool, so chill. And she's like, do you need help moving in? Like, I'm on my way down south right now. So when you get there, just let me know. And so, yeah, I lived in a 3-bed, 2-bath apartment on campus, which was kind of cool.
From freshman year 2, or did you have to live in the dorm right away?
Nope, no dorm.
Okay.
So it was a 3-bed, 2-bath on campus apartment that we got to live on, me and 2 other softball girls that were freshmen. But like this is why I was intimidating, because the 2 girls I roomed with, they were on the same travel ball team. So like they knew each other, and like some of the girls also played on their travel ball team that was committed or currently playing at Alabama. So I was like, I just don't know anyone. But I had trust in like the coaching staff. And when I first got on campus, like there's so many like hugs and like love and like just good vibes going. So I was like, I trust the coaches and like believe in what they have to say. So yeah, when I got moved in, we had like Taco Tuesday that night with some of the team, and we ended up having dinner with our head coach Murph, like a freshman class dinner. So got to like mingle with other freshmen, and we only had 3 others in my class, so a total of 4 for my freshman class, which is kind of small.
Yeah.
So that was kind of nice. And then, yeah, a lot of just team events to kind of just get to know each other. But yeah, it turned out for the best. Like that first month, you're so nervous. Like you don't want to definitely say anything wrong, and you don't want to like make the other classmen mad. So you kind of just stay quiet. But after that first month, like I got out of my shell and made really good friends with like the older classmen, and yeah, life was so much fun.
How was the coaching staff right away? Like, was there any big things that they did that you were like, this is totally different from what I've been doing all my life? You know, is there anything that stuck out to you?
It wasn't necessarily that. Like their coaching style is like so good. Like they want you to ask questions. They want you to learn. Like they don't want you to be afraid of failure. And I love that they put that out there like my freshman year, because I was so afraid to mess up all the time, because like you kind of just like, you don't want your older classmen, like I said, like as a freshman mentality, you didn't want your older classmen to be mad at you for like messing up. Do I think like that now? No. But like as a freshman, I totally did. And so our coaches were so good at being like, it's okay, like calm down. But also as like a freshman too, you just have like the expectation to perform like at such a high level, and you're just not going to be there yet as a freshman. So I don't know. Our coaching staff was phenomenal. They just talk through everything. If you have any questions, like I said, ask, and they do. Yeah, like I just love our coaches so much.
Are you a junior right now?
Yes.
Okay, so you graduated in 22, right?
Yes.
High school? Okay.
Yes.
What are you going for?
I'm going for marketing, and I'm actually graduating this spring in marketing, which is kind of cool. And then I'll have my senior year to get my master's. We have a 1-year master in marketing program. So yeah, I'll get my 5 done in 4, which is kind of cool. But
nice.
Yeah.
So is the goal is there a professional, like what does that look like? What are some of your goals you have?
Putting me on the spot. I would definitely love to do marketing within like MLB and NBA. Like we have people at Alabama, like their job is to find us jobs, which is kind of like odd, but I love it. And that's kind of like, I guess, one of the perks of maybe being a student athlete there. Like if I want to work for Nike, like first off, we have alumni who have worked for Nike, and then I go to the people whose job is to find us a job, and they're like, okay, you want to work in Nike? Like we can find that for you. Mm-hmm. So do I know specifically what I want to do yet? No. I don't know. So we're just going to play it by ear. Like,
is there a choice to further your athletics though?
I believe there is like a 5-year clock. So where I could play 4 years of softball and then 1 year of basketball. Like I think that is like an actual thing you can do. Don't quote me on it, but that could happen. TBD.
Professionally though, you don't want to do anything.
My gosh.
You don't want to try for that?
I don't know, like it just depends. Like I would love to achieve SEC Player of the Year, like all SEC. Like there's a lot of goals I want to maintain first within college before I think of life after college.
It's a good way to think about it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's been fun to watch, and they're changing the rules for the pro league a lot because they do it really differently. Like it's based off of points. So like if your pitcher strikes someone out, like your team gets like plus 10 points, or like if you hit a home run, it's 5 points for you. So they kind of have like a leaderboard. But I think they're changing rules. So if I got to see that change more, I definitely think I'd be more intrigued. But yeah.
What's it like putting on that Alabama uniform and going and playing a softball game and representing that college? Like
it's always a proud feeling when you put on the Bama U jersey, because you just represent like the people before you that played and just your current state. Because whenever people come to play Alabama, it's their Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like, even look at our football boys. Like Vanderbilt showed up and beat them. SMU showed up and beat them. Like people act like that is their Super Bowl, and they play like the best game they ever have.
Yeah.
And I could give so many examples of like teams we've played that you're supposed to be, but like they just have like an outstanding game. Like their pitcher throws a shutout, and then their outfielder makes a diving catch. So it's like, I'm just like always so like grateful and appreciative. Like I play for a college that people are like, I want to be there. Because there's always girls on the other side that are like, I wish I played for Alabama. So it's always an electric feeling. I love it so much. And I love when we make TikToks and post on Instagram. It's just like a proud feeling, I guess. So
do you have people that like come up to you on campus or know you for softball? If that makes sense.
Our team definitely gets the shout outs, and I guess, publicity.
Yeah.
Like we go eat at Texas Roadhouse and people are like, oh my gosh, you guys play for Alabama softball. Like, can I take a picture with you? So that's always like a fun feeling too, because you get to like make other people's day. So many little girls like ask for our signatures after games. And I love doing that. Like I will stay like however long it takes after games. Like we've had one time, I think it took like an hour and a half to like sign everybody's stuff. And then you get home late, but still like I would love to make like a little girl's dream come true just because you sign a ball. Like you take like 10 seconds to sign a ball, or you wear like the rainbow loom bracelets they like make you sometimes.
Yeah.
Like it like literally makes their day. So it's definitely a cool like opportunity to be that person for like a little girl to look up to.
That is cool. And you were there at one point too. You know, you were that little looking up to other softball players, and you're like, I don't know if maybe you were saying, hey, sign a ball, but you looked up to them, you know?
Oh, 100%.
How have the last couple of seasons gone for you guys?
We have gone to the World Series both years.
Dang.
So my freshman year and my sophomore year, we made it to the World Series. And my sophomore year, when we got sent to our super regionals. So how the World Series works is you go into a regional, and then if you win your regional, you go into a super regional. And then if you win that, you get to go to the World Series. So the top 8 teams make it to the World Series. And so, but you have to, I want to say 32 teams make it into a regional. So not everybody like makes it. Mm-hmm. And it's based off your RPI, like what type of level of competition you play, wins and losses, all that stuff. But anyway, my sophomore year, we win our regional, we hosted it, and we've never not hosted a regional, which is a huge accomplishment in college softball. Like every year we host a regional, which you obviously always want to play on your home turf.
It's kind of like a home playoff game, like your first home playoff game in high school, how you want to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we won our regional, and then we had to go play Tennessee. I think we were the 15th seed or 14th. And so we had to go play the number 3 seed.
Okay.
And Tennessee is like our big rival. Like that game, whether it is football, basketball, softball, like that is the game to come watch.
Sure.
And we had to go travel all the way down to Knoxville, and then we lost the first game. So it's a series of 3, and we lost the first game. And then the next day we come back, huge rain delay, like the longest, it felt so long. Won that game, had to come play them for game 3, and we beat them on their home turf.
Nice.
And it was just a cool experience to go back to the World Series. And there's like so many people, like there was 0 people who bet on us to win. You have like people like before the games, you're like, it's almost like at college game day when people like
pick their winner.
Pick who they want.
Yeah.
We had no picks, and
Dang.
we came out of it and won. So that was a cool feeling. And then we got to smoke cigars on their field. Like it's an Alabama tradition. So that was super cool to do that too.
That is super cool.
How'd that end up then? Did you lose the next round or?
So since we won that game, we got to go to the World Series. And so then when we got home, you get like a few days to kind of like wash all your clothes, pack everything. And then we got to hop on a charter plane to Oklahoma. And so then, oh my gosh, my memory, I'm trying to think. We played UCLA first game. Okay. I want to say we played UCLA the first game, and we lost that. But then we came back and played Duke and beat Duke. And then we played Florida Gators. So it's like double elimination in the World Series. You have to come. If you lose, you have to go in a loser's bracket and play a ton of games. So, but we made more strides than my freshman year. But it's honestly like, obviously everyone wants to win a national championship, and like that's the end goal. Like that's everything you work for in practice. Like that's your mindset, your mentality. Every rep you take, you're like, I act like this is the World Series, like the national championship. But like it is a fulfillment of like going to the World Series, because I remember being in the stands, like watching like girls play, and I'm like, I would give anything to be there. So every time we just make it there, I'm like, I'm not content, but like in a way content, because you're fulfilling like a dream that you always wish you could do. So, and only the top 8 teams get to be there. So it takes a lot to get there.
Well, as a kid too, you originally were thinking, I just want to play as a college athlete. And then after that, you end up getting to a college. Now you're doing that. And then now you're going to the World Series, like all of that happening at once. I'm sure the emotions are just insane. Feeling all that. Oh,
and it's always packed too. So like little me, like as a freshman, when we walked on the field, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is such a different perspective, being from the stands to on the field. So
have you started your whole career there?
No. So my freshman year, I had to build my way up for sure. We had some really good older classmen above me.
Sure.
And I knew with them graduating too, like that's your chance, like play. And I think that's what's so hard with like college athletics now is people see like the transfer portal and they're like, I didn't play my freshman year. Like I'm just going to leave and try to go find somewhere else I can play. Is that the case for everyone? No, because everyone has like their own story, their own case, like for why they want to transfer. But I feel like I see so many like younger classmen being like, I didn't play. I want to go somewhere else. So like maybe, I don't know if they want to go to like somewhere lower to where they could play like a mid-major D1 or somewhere else. But I mean, I just knew I had to work my way up, and it's such a faster pace than travel softball. Like I would say I had like a 350, 400 batting average in like travel ball softball, but then you get to college softball, like SEC, and it's just a different breed. Like I remember Murph, my freshman year, he throws pinch hitters in sometimes, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to play Arkansas. He throws me in bases loaded Arkansas, like 2 outs, and but has like, he has a feeling about you that you're going to come through. No, strikeout. Strikeout. No. And that's honestly the case for most pinch hitters in college. Did that happen to me a ton? 100%. But it's just like the natural case for pinch hitters. Like that's such a hard position to be in, like ice cold, and then you get thrown in. But I mean, it's your job and to like be ready. Yeah. And so you try your best. That's all you really can do at that point. So I didn't play my freshman year, but I had a ton of experience and opportunities, and that helped me grow into my sophomore year. And I started all sophomore year. So.
Once you started in that college, how much different was the speed of play? Like you're getting ready to bat, and that ball is coming so much faster than it was when you used to play, you know?
Yeah. So Carlin Pickens, she throws like 74. She's like a pitcher for Tennessee. And I'd say an average pitcher throws like 65, 66. So, I mean, she's throwing gas in there. So, like, you're up there, like, thinking you're in your zone. And it's honestly sometimes like a prayer, like, gosh, I hope this pitch is like somewhat meaty and I can swing at it. Yeah. So, it's a challenge. So, it was definitely a huge like step of a level of competition for me when I got to like start and see just different pitchers. And I'd say the hardest part though is when you see such fast pitchers and then you kind of get like a slower pitcher that's like spinny. That kills me every time because you're just like so early and out front and you're pulling every ball like on the third baseline at Murph, and he's getting so mad. He's looking at you like, he's like, you have all this field and you're going to hit it at me. And it's like, I promise you, I'm not trying to do that. It's just like, I just went from seeing 10 miles an hour faster and then now it's like 20 miles per hour slower. So yeah, it's always a challenge every day.
So going back to like the transfer portal, it seems like you see a lot of people with like NIL deals going where they can make the most money.
Yes.
What have you found for NIL that benefit you? Like, have you done brand deals?
Yes. So we also have people, like I talked about earlier, we have like people's job at Alabama is to get us jobs. We also have people in NIL to give us NIL opportunities.
Like managers almost, but it's not because it's through the school.
So Jenna Johnson, she played with us last year. She was played for 5 years. So due to COVID, got her 5th year in.
Sure.
She works for the NIL department right now. And that's been super cool because she also works with a former gymnast. So 2 alumni that played sports, so student athlete alumni, and they get to work through Yay Alabama. So it's kind of a system where they get X amount of money and then you have to post content in order to receive that money. Is that like the case for everyone? I don't know. It works different because NIL is so new. I think it's only like 3 or 4 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So definitely for the males, I'm going to say it is a lot different than the females. But there are still females who are making a ton of money. So like Nyjah Kennedy, she just transferred to Texas Tech for $2.2 mil.
Wow.
And she played at Stanford.
That's life-changing money. That's crazy.
100%. And she's the same age as me, a junior. In her freshman year, she got like freshman of the year. And then last year she got like pitcher of the year, or maybe just player of the year. Anyway, she's dominated college softball the past 2 years in her career. And obviously like when you get $2.2 million, like I'd transfer too, honestly. Like that's a lot. That's a lot of money, and that can like change your whole career path. But people always ask like, would you do it? It's like, I don't know. Like that's such a tough question because like, would you want to? Granted, I'm not speaking for her, but like, would you want to be on like a mediocre team that may not even make it to the World Series, or would you like want to cherish like all the memories and like love from your coaches? Because like every day at Alabama, like It's not like a 4-year commitment; it's a 40-year commitment. And what he means by that, he's like, you'll be going to everyone's weddings, and he's like, I'll be involved in your kid's life. Like, he is so committed to us, and it's like, would you rather have that or would you rather have money? So it's like, I don't know. NIL puts such a different perspective on people's life and thoughts. But I know for her, like 2.2 million in like to be a female too, like that's awesome. But
does that kind of change your motivation, or maybe some people's like, if I play better, I have a better chance to make more money?
100%.
Yeah.
100%, because you want to be the face of someone's like promotion.
Yeah.
I mean, like Sis Bates I talked about, she does Adidas. So
Wow.
like just because of how good you are at your sport can like change your job opportunities and what kind of money you could get from promoting different people.
What brands have you worked with?
I did Bubbler. That's
a good one.
That's a good one. And Motorola right now. Gosh, putting
And
me on the
have
spot
all
with
of these
that.
people reached out to you for that, or is it with the NIL
With
manager?
So if I wanted to, for example, let's do Loopy the phone. Have you seen Loopy phone cases? Or let's do Casetify, a Casetify phone
sure.
case. Okay. I could DM them on Instagram and be like, hey, my name's Abby Duchscherer. I play softball at the University of Alabama. I love your guys' products. I would love to promote you guys. Is there anything you want to do in NIL exchange? You can send that out, and depending on like the response, like you post for product, or you can get money for product. It just depends. Like I had boots. I had these cute white cowboy boots this season for college game day, and the brand was Alvy's, and they wanted to do product for promotion. So it kind of just depends on what you want to do. But yeah, there's so much opportunity for that.
What's it like having Grant Nelson also be down there? Because I mean, both kids from a small North Dakota town. Have you ever talked to him?
Yeah, we run into each other in the dining hall like every here and there. Basketball is really low key. Like you never see them, honestly.
Yeah.
Even though like they stick out like a sore thumb because they're like 6'7",
Yeah.
6'8". But I've ran into him a few times at like different student athlete events, and he's a pretty shy person, but he's super cool. Works hard. I feel like me and him kind of show like the Midwestern like work ethic sometimes. Just like how we hold ourselves, what we like believe in, talk about. Like he's a super cool person. Proud of like what he's accomplished too, because it takes a lot to like play like that at the SEC level, because jumping from Summit League to SEC,
Right.
like it is a change.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm happy with everything he's accomplished.
Grant, if you're seeing this, we want to get you on the pod.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah, and during the summer or something. We should reach out. What's the college experience like at Alabama overall?
It's so much fun.
Yeah. Large campus?
Large campus. I mean, I had classes of 300 to 400 kids
Wow.
my freshman year. Granted, now that I'm like graduating within the next semester, the classes do get a lot smaller.
Yeah.
But campus is so big. My walks from where we get rehab or like treatment is like a 15-minute walk every day.
Dang.
So
It's kind of
feel like,
counterproductive, I feel like.
oh yeah,
You don't wanna get
100%.
rehab and then have to walk 15 minutes.
So a lot of people have scooters on campus, like
Okay.
a lot of athletes. So you'll see athletes on the side of the road with their scooters going to class. And I just could never get myself to buy one. So this is probably even worse, but I VO bike, and it's an electric bike, and you pay like 10 cents per minute or something. I don't know how
Okay.
it goes, but yeah, I end up paying money probably like every day because I get tired of walking. But yeah, I mean, you have the college game days where you're dressing up. This is so much different than back home. Like back home, I feel like you put on a pair of jeans and like an NDSU shirt or something, whatever school you're representing. But down there, it's like homecoming every day.
All out.
You are dressed out in cowboy boots, some type of crimson top and leather, and that was like a culture shock to me because I was like, what are we getting all dolled up for? Because it's 90 degrees, it's humid, it's gonna melt off you. But they're like, no, like this is what we do. And so that part's honestly kind of fun now. That's grown on me.
How's the accent?
It has gone on me. Like people talk to me and they're
Well,
like, you
I
don't
can
even
tell.
Can you for real?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Has anyone not told you that yet?
Oh no, there's been so many people like that have come and talked to from back home, and they're like, yeah, no, you've turned Southern. And I was like,
See, I kind of
Oh.
caught on when I was wondering about that, but
well,
yeah.
I have some girls on my team that are from like the deep South. So the first time I ever heard them spoke, it was so foreign to me. I was like,
what?
what did you say? Can you speak English for me? And they like had to literally talk slower for me. But yeah, it's a it's a different breed of language down there, but I picked up on it because of all the y'alls and
Yeah.
I'm just around it 24/7.
She even texted us that.
I did.
On the DM.
I did. I did do that. It's
That's
easier
awesome.
than saying you guys, so it's just like quicker
Yeah.
to type y'all.
What kind of advice would you give to a little girl that kind of wants to do the same thing that you did?
I would give the advice that if you want to achieve your goal, you're going to have to sacrifice a lot in your life. So whether it's like birthday parties, homecoming dances, going to the lake with your friends, like you are going to have that, you're going to have to give that up in order to achieve your goal. It's so rewarding at the end of it. I'd also say though, when never compromise or never compare yourself to others, because there's no win in comparison, but it's a sin to compare yourself to others. I love that saying so much because each person is so like godly gifted in their own way with like the talents they're given. For example, like I'm more of a home run hitter and power hitter, but like let's say for example you're like a line drive single hitter, like own that. And I feel like so many people love to compare like their talents with other people's because maybe you want to hit home runs, but if you're doing like ground balls and line drives consistently, like there's nothing wrong with that. So like the less you can compare yourself to others and just like own your natural gifts, like you'll succeed in life. Like I remember my freshman year, I was the person like to compare myself to the older classmen. Like they're 23 years old and I'm just 18 and I'm like, gosh, I want to get consistent like them. I want to hit home runs like them. But it literally takes time, and there was nothing wrong with like my ability of like being that line drive hitter. Like it took time growing into like the person I am now. I should have added this on there, but my freshman year to sophomore year, I added 20 pounds of muscle.
Wow.
So
That's crazy.
because I was always like running, doing basketball, different sports. So I never like got to take the opportunity to lift and like get stronger in that aspect. I wish I did, but I mean, with how much time I had, very limited. So yeah, I just wish like the person I am now, I would never compare myself. So I would tell a little girl, like, just own your talents, own your ability, and just go off that, because other people's opinions don't matter. And yeah.
One thing that we do at the end of every show is give you one of these seeds. So
Okay.
whatever bag you want, which flavor do you want?
Bacon ranch, of course.
Bacon ranch? That's a go-to one. Do you eat these a lot when you're down playing?
Of course. Seeds are an essential
There
for
you go.
softball and baseball players.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you, Giant Snacks. And we'll see you guys next week on Monday at 6 p.m. Peace. Peace.
Real ones with me, I know we gon' beat the odds. Counterfeit, guess it from the thought of it. People fake, think they need to start a kid.